Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Ain't That Something? And tonight's episode, we are going to just lay it out on the table. I know you have been seeing the reviews and the feedback about P. Diddy and the reckoning. Oh my goodness. I just had to talk about it this week. It's definitely an eye opener, but at the same time, it's a sad case. It's a sad story because I hate to see when successful Black men are in situations like this, especially growing up, being, you know, of the culture, a fan of the music, watching, these musicians grow and basically get to the top. And, later you find out all of this horrible stuff about them. So it's disappointing to say the least. But at the same time, it's life. It's something that happens. And I think it's an interesting topic to discuss because there are so many women that find themselves in relationships like this, in the mindset that, this can't happen to me, and, this man really loves me. But in all actuality, it's toxic. I mean, from beginning to the end. And so I wanted to talk about it a little bit from the perspective of women who find themselves in relationships like this and have a very difficult time of getting out or moving past those type of relationships. And at the same time, just being on guard and kind of like on the lookout to prevent yourself from getting in a relationship such as this, or even a situation like this. And then also exploring just how, mothers play a huge role in the type of men that turn out or have characteristics like Diddy, along with the type of friends and associates that they may surround themselves with. So I just wanted to talk about it. I think, it's definitely a hot topic right now. Everybody is, just kind of being exposed to what we had no idea of. And, it's really interesting because we're in a time, an era where information about people, celebrity life is just, it's like a clear glass window. Like we can see so much, and so many things are being exposed in this era that we're in. So, I think Cat Williams was correct all the way with his predictions. And here we are, knocking on 2026. And, just one reveal after the next. But anyway, let's get into the type of relationship that is, the characteristics of a relationship, of women getting in relationships like this with a man like Diddy. Right off the top, just obvious to me after watching the documentary, I was like, P. Diddy definitely had the mindset of a pimp. Like, if you know anything about that world and just that type of manipulation that men and sometimes women that are in that field will do, it's all about gaining control and manipulating everybody to get what they want. And as they continue to gain control and to become as powerful as they can be, then it becomes easier for people to do things for them, or to just take what they are giving or telling them to do, because the power is so strong and heavy, and it's convinced them that they have to do this, they have to be loyal to this individual so that they don't let them down, in the sense of like how you wouldn't want to let down your parents. And so looking at the documentary, I seen a lot of patterns that were discussed and talked about. And I was like, yeah, this dude, he was really like a pimp, from the threatening to the beatings to even threatening to kill people, killing people, setting it up and things. It really built this mindset that he was invincible. And unfortunately, when men are presented as powerful, when they are presented as business savvy, or they come across with confidence, arrogance, a lot of times women are attracted to that because it gives this false sense of like protection, and they'll be able to take care of me and provide for me. And so what will happen is that a woman will find this attractive, even if the man is not attractive. And that's the one thing that, is laughable to me, is like these men won't even be like your GQ. That you're not going to be looking at a Morris Chestnut or a Boris Cujo or anything like that. Like you're not talking about somebody who is naturally handsome and has confidence because they know that they don't have to manipulate anybody. They have a natural charisma. But when you have someone who is insecure and then who has past problems and issues with their upbringing, that could be with their mother, that could be with their father, then they are going to work extra hard to try to come across like they are that much more attractive and confident. And they try to use that as like, that's my swag. And women fall for it. Like, it's just like sinking sand. Like they literally fall for it. And then when you have someone that is in such an arena where they're making millions of dollars, you have women, and people might not, they may disagree with me, but you have women who are like, I want to be the one. I want to be the next. I want to be his girl. I want to be the top girl. So they will do whatever it takes to be that next girl. And watching the documentary, it was like so obvious that a lot of women got caught up under the spell of that. And it's no different. Like P. Diddy was who he was because he has all this money. But, you can have Raekwon or, even David, somebody regular who can have that same type of power. They can possess that same type of power and have women going goo crazy to be their next person, their next woman, even though they may have seen like this dude is diabolical. Like he is abusive. He is controlling. But that will not deter those women, because there are women, and a lot of people don't want to admit this, but there are women that is their goal. Like they are looking for the easy way of life. They are looking for someone to take care of them. They don't want to work. They want that lifestyle. And so in their minds, they're maybe thinking like, he's not going to treat me like that. It's going to be different with me. Whatever the case may be. No, ma'am. Press him. It's not going to be different. Any man that's like that, who has no type of discipline, and he understands that he has the power to get people to do what he wants them to do, you're not going to be anything special. You can stay along for the ride, but you're just going to be a part of the collection that makes him feel even more powerful. So when you're dating, let's segue it to real life. When you're dating, when you're out here trying to meet somebody, red flags, if they are constantly, speaking into you like, you gonna call me, you want to be with me, they doing all of that, those are like little tactics that they're trying to get into your head. And I'm going to tell you like this, ladies, these men are successful with this off majority of the time when they're able to identify that a woman has some insecurities. Like if he can probe around long enough to see what her weaknesses are, see what her insecurities may be, they're going to play on that in order to get in your head, to make you feel like what they're saying is true. They know me better than anybody else, right? And somebody told me a long, long time ago, if a man makes love to your brain, like he's telling you all the things and, wooing you to the point where you're like, oh my goodness, red flags, because it is a tactic. It is a tactic to try to manipulate you. So you really have to be careful because there are men that are like this. Another red flag, if this dude is coming at you and telling you that, the guy that you may be interested in or even who you are with right now, if he's trash talking him to you to try to impress you and tell you like, hey, I'm better, you better off with me, that kind of thing. No, that's somebody who's insecure. He's letting you know right off the bat that he doesn't have any confidence in himself. His confidence comes from putting other people down. And when you see those types of behaviors out of people, you have to be very, very careful in order to really recognize it, because if they are talking like that about somebody, trust me, they're going to do that at some point. They'll do that at some point with you. It may not be right away. Of course, they are going to make you feel like you are the most beautiful, the most cherished woman in their life. But once you get to that point where you're comfortable, that's when they are going to flip the switch. And clearly with Diddy's record, that's exactly what happened to the ladies that was there. And then it's hard after they flip the switch on you. It's hard for you to move on. Okay. Or they have so much control, they make it impossible for you to move on. Okay. So definitely be careful. Be careful when it comes to men who are in this light, because it may be flashy. It may look like, oh my gosh, he's gonna, we're not gonna have to worry about anything. He's a provider. He's a businessman. But no, it's all a facade, because they're doing all of this to compensate for the fact that they really are insecure. They're really jealous of other people, other men. They want only presentation that they have it together. And for them, that means, look at everything that I've obtained. This is why I have the power I have. I was watching a documentary about the strip club in Atlanta, Blue Flame, and they were talking about how men will come in there and have these contests where they're throwing up, trying to see how much money they can throw up to make it rain. They're having competitions with other men about that. It's like, that's a serious defect. Because why are you in competition of other men, right? You should be secure with yourself if you are successful in all of the things. So with that, ladies, it's just that we have to understand there is going to be a price to pay, unfortunately, with that. If you are thinking that you're going to change this man, if you are thinking that he's not going to treat you like that, he's going to change for you, or it's going to be different from you for you, just take a step back and look at the pattern. Look at the pattern of women and types of women that they dated in their past. Because at the end of the day, whatever pattern that they're on, you're just going to be fitting right into that pattern. You're going to be that next round or that next era that they're going to do the exact same thing with. They're going to do the exact same thing unless they have gotten themselves together, right? Moving on. Another thing about this type of gentleman that, you know, has this insatiable sense of needing power. Pay attention to how they operate around their associates. Are they putting them down as well? Are they talking crazy to their friends? Are they making them do odd things, you know, because they want to have power and control over them as well? That's another red flag, because again, if they're doing that to their friends, if they're, you know, disrespecting and or humiliating their friends in front of everybody, it's like they're doing that in order to gain this type of following, to feel like they are the emperors, right? That they have so much power and control, and such. So I just think it is very interesting that we are seeing this. And then like I said, if you're a person who watched all of these, you know, celebrities and things through time, and you've seen how they developed, it's interesting to see it all play out the way it is, because I think it at the same time shows us just like how what we don't see in the dark definitely comes to light. And it's also an example that we can use, like, it's really dudes out here that's operating like that, you know, and they may not be to the extreme that Diddy got to be, but they're definitely out there. They're definitely out there preying on women, and things like that. So if you are in this space trying to date, you know, you want to definitely just be prepared. And I won't even say be prepared, but just definitely, like, you know, be diligent in screening the people that you want to try to get to know, or you are trying to get to know, because those signs are there. And I think that that's one of the things that a lot of people say is like, well, I didn't see it. It just came out of nowhere. But those signs are there. Like, it's no secret how individuals act. Even if you go on a simple date with somebody, how they, you know, act when they are with the waiters, or like how picky, all of that stuff is super important to consider when you're looking at the full character of someone, right? Because at the end of the day, you're going to be in this relationship with this person, and you want the relationship to be healthy. Don't be attracted to the idea that like toxic love is better love. No, toxic love will definitely kill you. Okay? The word is toxic. Like, don't get involved with someone who has all of these issues. You know, taking it back to the documentary, they showed just a very small segment about P. Diddy's family and his upbringing and him being raised by a single mom. It's no secret. Like, a lot of single women, unfortunately, when they have sons that are adult age, they will have this kind of relationship that's misproportionate because they are expecting that son to fill in the space of them not having a man. So they may put a lot of responsibilities, they may have these expectations, and then they make it extremely difficult for their sons to try to have a relationship and have a woman wife of their own. Okay, that is very key and understanding, because a lot of times these men that have been raised by single women that were very overbearing, very needy, and still a lot of times psychologically, and I'm gonna have to, refer to my Psych 101, Sigmund Freud, these theories have some fact into them, because the theories of how mothers and their relationships with their sons and their sons' relationship with their mothers, that's the first interaction that they have with the opposite sex. And if it's not positive, loving, nurturing at a young age, it builds the character of that son of how he's going to perceive women. And that can go in so many ways. Either he, is going to be very abusive. Maybe he's going to, be less confident and get with someone who is overbearing because that's what he's used to. There's so many different options and, outcomes of how mothers treat their sons. The same applies with women and how they're raised by their dads, or if they are raised by their dads. If a man is abandoned by his mom, if his mom wasn't really there, he's going to have abandonment issues. And it's just the fact, that's just what's going to happen. They can deny it, but their behaviors, their character, who they are, is definitely going to be shaped up by that lack of need that they needed, the lack of love and nurturing and support that they needed from that mother. Not that she was trying to make him her man, but just being motherly. And if they don't have that, men can have mommy issues too, right? And so we saw a lot of that from just a little bit that they shared about P. Diddy and his mom's relationship. And I think that had a lot to do with how he treated women, how he saw women, how he perceived them, how he had the lack of disrespect for them, and how they seemed very disposable in his life. And so, with that being said, you got men that's how they're operating. That's how they're seeing women. That's how they are treating them. Because to them, you may be a different woman, but you still represent how my mama treated me. They're still holding on to their mama left them, or she lied to them, or she didn't get them something for their birthday, or they may even be holding resentment because they feel like the mom caused the dad to get a divorce and leave the family. There's all types of layered concepts of what these men will internalize because of how their mother treated them. And so if you are a mother to a son and you're a single mother, be mindful of that. Be mindful of how you talk to him. Be mindful of how you interact with them, what kind of expectation and responsibility you may have for him, and get positive male role models in that son's life. It doesn't have to be that you're going to be dating this man or you eventually marry this man, but have him surrounded around positive, uplifting men, Black men. They need to see that, because if you're trying to be the mama, the daddy, it's just not going to work like that. It just isn't. I have not seen it happen where a single mother of a son did it without having a village of positive men help her raise her son. That's just what you need in order for there to be a balance, right? So you have that factored in, and that also will play a role in subtle ways too. The man may not be as extreme as like the Diddy case, but it still may be an issue because of how his mother raised him and the expectation that he has and what he has to do for that mother. You know, it's very, very key and very important. How that man treats his mother and how she treats him is a huge indicator, I believe, on, is this a solid man to be in a relationship with? Does he respect his mom? Is he loving to his mom? Does he gripe and complain about his mom to you? You know, does he feel like it's around? Does his mom have him doing all of these things like she's the husband? Like, all of that is super important to take into effect and understand. Moving right along. When it comes to women, again, trying to think that they are going to be number one, you know, this lifestyle that you may be attracted to, you think he has the money, you're going to go for that. Listen, there's thousands, hundreds, millions of women that's what they want, and they will go through that. But I just don't agree with, you signed up for it, you wanted it, and it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to turn out, right? This person was abusive to you. This person cheated on you, had babies on you, never married you. Like, I just don't agree with that. Like, if you are going for that type of lifestyle, but then you're expecting something totally different, especially when you see the track record of how this person is, like, we have to be smarter. We have to really use our common sense and not put ourselves in these kind of situations. But, you know, to each his own. Women, they'll do what they want to do at the end of the day. And I may come off like, or someone may have the opinion that I may be coming off as a hater about it, but I'd rather have my peace than to be in something toxic. I'd rather have my peace than to have to do something that is going to violate me, or I'm going to later regret just because I wanted a shopping spree or I wanted a Chanel bag. Like, I'm not going to do anything to degrade myself. And that's a key piece of the puzzle that I've been talking about this whole season. Like, you have to know your worth. It doesn't matter, even if you are in a wealthy platform, like you have money, still know your worth, still know that you're not going to succumb to anybody trying to make you degrade yourself or belittle you, right? Like, keep yourself aware of the situation and be smart about it, because these guys will try to play you at the end of the day. So with that, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. We'll have more this week. Again, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. We're going to keep doing this thing. It's almost 2026, y'all. Listen, we're going to keep it going. And like every time, ain't that something? Keep listening. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and you can follow me on Instagram at Ain't That Something to Listen To. Until next time, y'all.